April 20th, 2:32 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Hello everyone and welcome back to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. We are here in the lobby and we were just about to have Christoph Gavin of all people testify. He is now apparently a suspect in this crime. So let's continue. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who would have thought today would turn out like this? May I? Oh. Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please pick a card. Well, what's all this about? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all. An ace? Where do I remember that card from? Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear to you. The missing 5th ace. Wait. This blotch of red. Is this blood? You have new trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it. Father? This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl, I'd seen her recently, but where? That's when I made the connection. Bloody ace added to the court record. Received from a mysterious girl. Could this be the missing 5th ace? April 20th, 2:45 p.m. District Court, Courtroom number 2. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Will Mr. The witness say his name and occupation?
Is this far necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger than things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we may have made clear. How do you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Objection!
Whoa. I'm going to call it inordinate, Mr. Kevin. Mr. Wright! Excuse me. Mr. Wright! What do you think you're doing, Wright? Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taken it off, except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit. Oh. When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have had to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer, is what you're trying to say. Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin? I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? What? Oh, I assure you, I had no burst of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Hang on. Oh, seriously? There we go. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well. Allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? That fateful night. The rage I had sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through that little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright, holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, and so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. So you were witness to the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright, you had to say that, because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh. Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. Alright. Let's see here. Let's press this one. Those were the only three at the scene of the crime? Yes, as far as I saw, at least. Then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness every moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah yes, this mysterious 4th person. Who will conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, What possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary? How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace? Right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? Yes, show evidence. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence up to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace? Well, it was like this card, obviously. With what appears to be a blood drop on it. My reason is, this. Is that an ace? Why? Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade. Oh, what? This is insane. Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Could this be? Could this be the missing 5th ace? Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Bush Pool Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade, after all.
Objection!
No! Impossible! Unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud! A fraud? How can you be so sure? Well, what? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? Take another look at the photo and at the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his head fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood.
Objection!
Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the final points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is baseless conjecture. Baseless. He is twitching.
Objection!
What? Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. There he goes with the finger pointing again. What? It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Ooh, 3D graphic. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found in the poker table. And before the killer swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there was one decisive problem with the scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? I think it's the victim, actually. Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Well, look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair. You'd think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him. Ah! Now take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not on the cards. Well, that's right. So what does this mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. How? Oh, okay. The chair was facing the other way? It would have to be. So we have to assume that the time of the victim's chair was facing the away from the table. Hang on. So we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. I love this little history thing. And went to the next line before I can even read it. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know now that the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Whose location recreates a contradiction if the victim was facing away? That would be the killers. The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front, sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it'd be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. Apollo, if the victim was face struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try working on the diagram. What? But there's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing toward the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front? Okay. That would be right here. The killer had to be standing, well, here. You get points for a flare, but that's about all you get. Heck, I thought I was onto something there too. I only need to point out that standing in there would be impossible. The victim was facing a solid cupboard. All you claiming the killer climbed on the cupboard and hit him from above. Ha! It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that, at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know. At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation. Right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Ah, Your Honor? What? There's one more thing men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I do my best. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here, if the killer was standing here at the crime in the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here, which means, Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Thank you. And as you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been as shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. What's this? Well, what is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears to be found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang. Notice something, Apollo? All line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness? Which indicator is this in this diagram contradicts what we... Oh, come on. Contradicts what we know about the crime. I believe it's this one right here. Let me just make sure real quick. Okay. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would have completely covered up the window to the stairs. Ah! That's right. Someone sitting outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What? What did you say? Oh? Is the coolest defense in the West losing its cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was, while the window in the room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court. Exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Order! This is a court of law, and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigative team at the Borscht Bull Club. They've examined the cupboard and hideout, Your Honor. Oh? And what did they find? Well, Your Honor, it turns out there was a secret passage behind it. What? Ah, yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that, now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room that has a secret passage? Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. And the time of the murder, the window was blocked, and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something. Do I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith, a date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Oh! Eek! What? Why did you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard of the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor, and the fact that they were all red. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor? The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. What? Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. but I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
Objection!
Oh, no need for to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Kevin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason, at present, to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were, upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court, in this case, demanded an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? See how the fish squirms to the last... Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation, just like that. Yeah? Just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words? It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice? Hang on. I need some water. Mr. Gavin said that the court, in this case, demanded an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court? What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? I believe this is the photo, the item that we need to look at. The grape juice bottles are right next to him. When at this angle, he would naturally pick them up with his, by the this part. Okay, I'm going to present this one.
Take that!
It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me? On the floor? Yes. Now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. See? You naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano, and you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. Order, order, order. What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Cabin? Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection? What? You claim that you switched the bottle? Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought. More baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? Ah, yes. I have your memo about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here is one of the bottles in question. What are you going to dust that for fingerprints too? I would be surprised if any were on that but his. Mr. Kevin probably wouldn't make such a mistake true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright, that bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. Aha! There's something inside the bottle. Well, what's this? That card. It can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Miss Olga Orley? Yes, a little swindling Devotchka. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the Five of Hearts. I had a feeling something like might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. The Five of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped, and the only one who could have done that was the fourth person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Uh-oh. Wow. That is all. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your Toonies badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All he did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little, how do you pronounce that word? Tete-a-tete? I believe that means face-to-face. I'm glad we can have this little tete-to-tete right. This is insane. What about me? Don't I get out to prosecute anyone? I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin? He's admitted to everything. Wait, he's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now. I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? None that we know of. Mr. Wright, have you anything to say? Have you anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. An odd profession, to be sure, and that's all we know about him. I'll arrange for a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good. Mr. Wright? Yes? 7 years. Wait. 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is a dark time for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. We have decided right. Mr. Wright? Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Well, this seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Yay! Court is adjourned. Whew. April 20th, 4:28 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who had cornered Mr. Gav, the killer. I couldn't have done it with that by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder what if he means... I have one question for the witness then. You say you saw the moment of the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. What is this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright? You have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer, right. The answer, right. Hang on. The answer, right. Today was full of questions without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I meant the girl whose picture is in your locket. She's kind of cute, isn't she? Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Huh? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, that's perjury! You testified. You said the locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that there was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then, why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mrs. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo? Yes? How about coming to work for me? Eh? You mean at the Wright & Co. Law Offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but then you're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And in the middle of it all was one man, Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion, and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of evidence of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet that it was the forged evidence. Obviously, it's the card.
Take that!
You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found in the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he... Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think that the only person who could have claimed it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then, you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago... None of that matters much now, does it? I punched him. It's the origin story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright? Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And in the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. End. Well, that was a pretty long case, even though it's the first one, and it was supposed to be pretty short. So I'm going to go ahead and save it here. Alright, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. We've only had 51 minutes, so I'm glad I split this up into 3 videos. So until next time, everyone, we shall take on Turnabout Corner in our first investigation case of this game. So until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. So take care, and see you all then.